Good afternoon, citizens of YouTube. It's a Sunday and I am out of the studio, and today it's time to put into practice a lot of the things that I've been talking about recently, including recording with an iPad, reamping back at the studio, and generally doing as much away from a studio as is possible and still getting the right results. And this is over an hour's drive away from my house, which means that I've got 4 or 5 hours to do something, and I may as well make use of my time, so I'm going to be recording some songwriting ideas, and hopefully, if the playing's any good, actually keeping that and reamping it in the studio. So let's have a look what I'm doing. So this is my 2013 Les Paul with bare knuckle Juggernaut pickups. The cable goes into my Apogee Jam, which if I stretch the strings you can see that lights up. Now that I have exported some drums from GarageBand, because I don't like GarageBand, but their new drummer feature's pretty cool, into Auria. If I hit play, that's bashing away out of these headphones, which are Sennheiser HD201s. Not the best in the world, but they're closed back, and for what I need them for right now, they are ideal. If I sit on them and break them, I don't really have to care. So the way that I'm doing this is I've got 2 channels armed in Auria. One is muted and doesn't have any effects on, so that'll just get the raw guitar. And the other channel, that you can see the levels go crazy on this, that, if I switch to the other view, is Jam Up by Positive Grid. And that, if I switch to it, is Fluff's Mesa Mark V from Bias, routed through Auria. And if I want, there's a Tubescreamer there, there's a noise gate, there's a tuner inbuilt, delay, reverb, which I'll probably use on solo channels. I'm not going to use this sound in a final mix, but this gives me a very good idea, if I switch back to Auria, of how things are going to sound when I reamp them through something like my 6505. Let's get writing. I'm back from the tattoo studio, and it's time to show you what I came up with. So this is not happy with me in terms of capture. However, it sounds like this. It's a kind of, I don't know, it's got tritone stuff in, it's like Black Sabbath-y. So if you're going to do kind of the same thing that I'm doing, you'd be at home at this point. I'm in the office. And what I've had to do, if I go in here, is I've got Jam Up running the bias amp on each channel. God only knows why it's flickering so crazily at the top. But yeah, this is the bass channel. It's an Ampeg SVT amp. The other amps are Mesa Mark V's and Marshalls. And if you look at the screen, they're all frozen. And not like the Disney musical. This is kind of the old way of working, because this system using Jam Up or Bias as a plugin, it can only do one at once, which is not ideal. However, once I'd finished with a particular take, or a particular guitar channel, I could just freeze that, and that would save that as a WAV file. So what I need to do now that I'm finished and I'm happy, even though the sounds are kind of okay-ish, the playing was what was important, and I'm happy enough with the playing for the purposes of this demo. I could spend hours, days perfecting the parts, and that's what I would recommend that you do as well if you're doing this for your own personal album, EP, whatever, make sure the performances are perfect. Because even if the amp sounds are not very good, that's what Tosin Abasi from Animals as Leaders did on his first album. It was all recorded through whatever he could get his hands on, but the original performance tracks were intact, which meant that he could then go to the right people with the right amps, the right time, and we'll come on to that. So now that the song is done, we need to unfreeze everything. Now you can see that I'm freezing the bass. It seems that I had the bass unfrozen, so I need to turn off jam up there, unfreeze the next channel, unfreeze, 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 unfreeze. And this is going to sound awful. But that's not important right now. What we're going to hear, if I hit play on this, is a sum total of nothing, apparently. But you can see all the colours of the tracks have come to life. And if I now... Well, let's just look at this. Let's get the pans back to centre for each track. Some reason, sometimes it wants to record in mono, sometimes in stereo with the Apogee Jam that I've been using. Fantastic quality interface considering the size of it. And let's just stop this recording for a second. So I can just, there we go. You can hear that. I'm just gonna export and mix down this so that I can play this for you to have a listen. It's absolutely disgusting, but quite useful actually. So I'm gonna upload file to Dropbox. Yep, okay. And I'm gonna save this as 2, 1. Save. And it's time for a new movie recording. Let's just drop this in. Right, so one thing that you can do with Auria, and this saves me a lot of time, is you can go to mix down, like I just did, but change the file type to stems. Make sure they're at least 24-bit, although arguably any more than that is pointless, seeing as though it was recorded with a 24-bit interface. And file name, tattoo, demo, stems, no amps. Okay. Now if I hit OK on that, that is going to throw out a separate WAV file for every track in a nice little folder, which is very useful. Now, the next thing to do is that has been hidden away inside of the app. And the only way to get those stems out is through connecting to iTunes. So what we're going to do now, just quickly save this, is we're going to go new screen recording. Hello. And, oh, go away. New screen recording. There are no options there. I'm going to record that part of the screen just because, and I'm going to stick iTunes in that box. Alright. So the iPad, you can see here, if I go to the summary and then go to the apps page, if I pop down to the bottom of this screen, there's Auria in the apps page. If I click on that once, there is the tattoo demo stems. I'm also going to, yep, that's all I need right now. So I'm going to copy that over. Shouldn't really copy things to the desktop, but you know, I think we'll live. Okay, that is done. And that is that. So I'm going to now take this down into the studio and we're going to look at reamping. Now, if you're a guitarist, songwriter type, this is kind of the end of what you would do. And this is where I come in. This is where we're going to take the tracks. They've been imported now into Reaper from those stems, and they sound pretty rough, but they're raw. So what we're going to do now is we're going to reamp these guitars. So what we need to do is do it one by one. So the first thing to do is mute all the guitars apart from one. And let's just mute the drums as well. And we need to send out of Reaper on a channel that isn't 1 and 2, so not through the speaker outputs. So if you've not got a sound card with more than 2 inputs, you're going to struggle with reamping. I'm sending a balanced signal over to my reamp box, which is next to the Peavey head. So let's go over there. So I've got a really long cable running from my interface out over to the other side of the control room. Now this is my reamp box. As you may have seen in some of my other videos, this is by Radial Engineering. And this is feeding my Red Dirt overdrive, which is a Tubescreamer, which is then going into this Peavey 6505, which you can see I've butchered and taken out of the case. But that doesn't affect the sound in any way. So if I were to hit play on the DAW, we can hear some noise, and what's happening is that the signal is going from the back of this through a really long lead under the floor to the live room. Now let's have a look at the cab in the live room. And there you have it. So the guitars have been reamped now. All that's left is to record the drums and mix it. And that is something for another day. So we've gone all the way from being out of the studio to at the office, which you might count as going back to your house, and then taking things into the studio to be reamped, and it sounds like an absolute beast. And you'll have saved a lot of time in terms of studio expense by recording the guitars at a decent quality outside of a studio. Also, if inspiration strikes, it's a good time. Give us a like if you like the video, hit dislike button if you're an idiot. Thanks for watching. Please hit the subscribe button. Every subscribe is appreciated. And if you've got any questions, leave them in the comments below. And that's about it. I'll see you very soon. I'm Adam Steele from the Hot Pole Studios. Thanks for watching.